In today's video, I'm going to share with you a mix of my 3 favorite Sony full-frame lenses for shooting video. Each of these have great autofocus, they give you great depth of field, and I'm shooting with one right now. Let's get into it. Alright, let's kick this video off. First off though, I'm not sponsored by Sony. I paid for everything that you see in this video. So if you do like what you see, I'll leave some affiliate links down below if you choose to check out these lenses. Now, I've tested all of this stuff out on the Sony A7C and on the Sony FX3, which I'm shooting with right now. And also, if you're not subscribed already, I'm gonna do a shootout between both of these two cameras, so stay tuned for that. The first lens on this list is the most expensive, but this is by far my favorite lens. It looks absolutely beautiful. It's the 24mm f1.4 prime lens. This is the G Master. Now these are fairly expensive, but there's a lot to like about this other than the visual. The first time I saw this lens on the iPhone YouTube channel, I was sold on it. It looks absolutely beautiful with any full frame camera. Whether or not using the A7C or the FX3, the results are going to be very, very similar. So there's a few standout features when it comes to the 24mm f1.4 prime, and that's that you can declick or click the aperture ring. So having an aperture ring is really, really handy anytime you just want to change aperture very functionally. And I love the fact you can either turn that to clicked or declicked. Let's take a listen. That's clicked. That's smooth. Pretty cool. Now when it comes to Sony, I think one of its downfalls is the inability to change easily over to manual focus on some cameras, not all but some. Having a manual focus button on the lens itself is a huge win. One of the cool things about the Sony G Master lenses is the custom button on the side. I've got mine set to change autofocus modes, but you can essentially program that to whatever you like. Now if you plan on doing a lot of this kind of stuff to camera, you will notice that the Sony G Master lenses do have some focus breathing. The 24mm is nowhere near as bad as the 35, and the 50 G Master isn't quite as bad as the 35 either. And it sucks because 35mm is one of my favorite focal lengths, which is why I got this lens. And now we're shooting this particular section with the 24mm f1.4 prime, so you'll notice a little bit more of the room while we talk about the next lens, the 35mm f1.8. Gerald Undone did a great comparison video between a few of the 35mm when it came to focus breathing, and this was by far the best at the expense of a little background blur. But what I found is if you shoot it at 1.4 a lot like I am right now, and especially outdoors, you can't see anything, and the closer you get to the camera, the less of everything you see. Now that might be the goal for some people, and I don't mind a little bit of background blur, but this has just the right amount where you don't lose track of what's going on outside, but it completely isolates the subject in the shot. As you can see right now, right, there's next to no background available in the shot, and you can also see the focus breathing as I move this lens back and forth. The great thing with the 35mm is that's so minimal that you don't even notice it. So if you're a video shooter, this is a no-brainer. Features wise, this lens is pretty good. It's not quite up there with the G Master, but you do get a custom button on the side as well as a manual and autofocus switch. The biggest difference between this and the G Master 35mm is the lack of focus breathing, but also the lack of the aperture ring. And this is also far smaller. So if size is important, this makes a lot of sense. But if you can't live without the aperture ring, then I would give this one a miss. The great thing about a 35 is it's right in the middle of two of the most popular focal ranges, 24 and 50, which means it's basically a great lens for anything. Whether you're behind the camera or in front of it, it's still nice and easy to touch everything on your camera to control it, while not having to walk back too far. I love that, and I think 35mm gives me some of the best results for the kind of filming that I do. The third lens in this list is my favorite for cinematic style video. This is the 55mm Sony Zeiss. Again, it's a 1.8, and this thing looks beautiful. There's one channel responsible for me pulling the trigger on this, and it's a crime his video's only got 5,800 views as of shooting this, and that's Digital Dre. I'm gonna leave a link up here somewhere and you can check it out. Unlike the other two lenses on this list, the Sony 55mm f1.8 Zeiss lens does not have a custom button. It doesn't have a manual and autofocus switch. It also doesn't have an aperture ring whatsoever. So you're buying a very bog standard lens that you attach to the camera and then use everything on the camera to control it. On the Sony FX3, I've mapped an autofocus manual focus button, so Not having the button on the lens doesn't really matter that much, but it still kind of does. I'm used to looking for it on the other two lenses, but otherwise, this is a really beautiful lens giving you great results. Now I'm shooting this particular section with the Zeiss 55mm f1.8 prime. One of the great things about this is the autofocus is fantastic. The box is on the eye and it's working. And I've actually got the camera to kind of go a little slower rather than be super responsive. I don't like it really going for it. But if we take a look at the focus breathing here, you can see a little bit, but I don't find that too distracting when you compare it to other 55mm or 50mm lenses on the list. Again, the G Master has far more focus breathing than this particular lens. That doesn't mean this is a better lens. It depends on how you shoot. If you're just going to be standing here, the G Master will do a great job. But if you're going to be doing any type of movement or following someone and then they stay stationary, for example, and then you keep moving towards them, that's when you may notice the focus breathing, but it shouldn't be too bad just in the room. So I'm going to pulse back and forth a little bit here and just look at the selfie screen while we see if there's any focus breathing. I think it does a really great job. Again, thanks to Digital Dre for his video on this. What a great video. Go support him, go check it out. Links will be up here. To wrap this video up, I just wanted to talk about which one of these three I would recommend if you're thinking about going over to the Sony system or if you want a great lens for video. It would have to be the 35mm f1.8. I think this is the best compromise in terms of its focal range. The focus breathing is very well controlled and the optical quality of it is fantastic. I would have no hesitations recommending this lens. Now, it might not be as fast as the 1.4, and if you're doing a lot of outdoor shoots where you want to showcase everything that's going on around you, the 24mm would be the choice. But if I had to pick one, I would leave the 35mm f1.8 on the camera all of the time. That would be my personal choice. Let me know what you think. Thanks again for watching. If this video is helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Catch you soon. See ya.